In this tutorial, I'll show you how I animated this car scene in Blender, step by step, from modeling to rendering. Open Blender and delete everything. Press Shift plus A and add a cube. Then scale it how big you need the platform to be. In my case, I just want a medium-sized space for the garage on both sides. And don't forget to save your file. Who knows when Blender crashes. I'll add a meta armature to scale the car and platform to real-world sizes. This way, the car won't appear bigger than a human. Now add a cube and make sure its origin point is at the bottom, so when we scale it, the cube scale from the bottom, not from the middle. After scaling, make a garage shape like this and place it at the corner. Go to edit mode by pressing tab and select the front face and press I to insert a face and Z to extrude on Z axis and delete the created face. This way we get a garage like something. You can also scale it from the side and top to give it a look of garage. Now press your garage model and go to modifier panel and add a mirror modifier to it and set the plane as the mirror object. Select your garage's opposite axis. In my case it's the y-axis, so I select that. Make sure to select the correct axis. Now select your ground and duplicate it by pressing Shift plus D, and make a big ground below this ground. Start by adding a plane, rotate it along the x-axis to position it where you want the grill to be. Move it into place, scale the plane to the desired size. Then, switch to edit mode and add several loop cuts to create the grill pattern. After scaling, press Ctrl plus and select scale to ensure the transformations are applied correctly. Apply a wireframe modifier to the plane. Adjust the thickness and other settings to get the grill look you want. Once you're happy with the grill, press Shift plus D to duplicate it. Position the duplicates on all four sides of the car as needed. Open the Blender kit add-in and go to the Models section. Under Transport, pick any free car model that you like. Make sure the car is positioned so it's touching the ground. You don't want your car to look like it's floating in the air. Scale the car to a realistic size so it fits well with the scene. Adjust the scale until it looks just right. Go to the Render Settings tab and tweak the settings. You can copy my settings if you want for the best results. To make the scene look more lively, you can add another car. Use the Blender kit add-in to select a second car model. Set the scale of the second car so it looks realistic and fits well with the scene. Park the second car inside the garage to fill the space and make the scene more interesting. Adjust the position and alignment of the car until it looks natural. This will help the garage scene feel complete and less dull. Press Shift plus to open the Add menu. Select Camera from the options. Position the camera however you like. Use G to move, R to rotate, and the axis keys X, Y, Z to fine-tune its placement. Press 0 on the numpad to switch to the camera view, and adjust until you're happy with the angle. Once your camera is set up, go to the Render Properties tab, the camera icon in the right-hand panel. Open Blender Kit, ensure the Blender Kit add-on is enabled in your preferences. Search for HDRI in the Blender Kit browser. Choose and apply an HDRI to your scene. For this example, I'm using Lake High Blue Sky, but feel free to try different options and see what works best. After applying the HDRI, go to the World Properties tab globe icon. Adjust the HDRI brightness using the strength slider under the surface section. Rotate the HDRI to change how the light interacts with your scene. To do this, open the shader editor. Add a mapping node, press Shift plus a vector mapping and connect it to the environment texture. Use the rotation values on the mapping node to adjust the lighting direction. Make sure the Blender Kit add-on is enabled in your Blender preferences. Go to the Blender Kit browser and navigate to the Materials section. Search for materials that suit your scene. You can use keywords like concrete, wood, or metal to narrow down your search. Click on a material to apply it to a selected object in your scene. For the ground, I'm using a concrete texture. You can choose a similar one or find something that works better for your environment. For the garage, apply a wood texture to give it a natural, realistic look. For the grills, use a metal material to make them appear shiny and realistic. Go to the Blender Kit browser and switch to the Models section. In the search bar, type building to browse through the available options. BlenderKit offers a variety of free building models. Look for ones that match the style and theme of your scene: modern, industrial, traditional, etc. Identify the empty spots in your scene that need more detail. Click on a building model in BlenderKit, and it will automatically import into your scene. Use G-Grab, or Rotate, and S-Scale to place the building where it fits best. Experiment with the placement of buildings to create a balanced and realistic layout. Use smaller structures or props like trees, fences, or benches to fill in gaps and enhance the atmosphere. Place your camera where you want to start the animation. For this example, I'm starting with the camera at the back of the car. Press Shift+A and add an empty use-plane axis for simplicity. Position the empty in the middle of the back part of the car where you want the camera to track during the animation. Select the camera and go to the Constraints panel, the chain icon on the right. Add a track to constraint. In the target field, select the empty you just added. Now the camera will always point to the empty. At frame 1, adjust the camera position and rotation. Press I and add a keyframe for the location and rotation. Go to frame 300 or 250 for shorter animations and slightly tweak the camera's position and rotation. Keep it subtle for a smooth cinematic feel. Press I again to add a keyframe for the new position and rotation. At frame 1, press Ctrl+B to add a camera marker. This saves the current camera position, making it easier to add more animations or switch between multiple cameras later. Select your current camera in the scene. Press Shift+D to duplicate it. Place your cursor on the timeline at frame 300. Press Ctrl+B to bind the second camera to this frame. Ensure the second camera is selected when binding so that Blender knows to switch to it at frame 300. Move the new camera to the desired position for the next part of the animation. For this example, position the camera to capture the front side of the car. Add an empty object, select the second camera, go to the Constraints tab, and add a track to constraint. Set the empty as the target of the constraint so the camera always focuses on it. Animate the empty if needed to adjust the camera's focus dynamically during the shot. Select the second camera. On frame 1, press 1 and choose location or rotation and scale to insert a keyframe. Move to frame 600, adjust the camera's position or rotation to tweak its angle. Press I again to add a new keyframe with the updated settings. To create multiple camera animations in Blender, you can duplicate your existing camera, add new keyframes for each duplicate, and delete the old keyframes to create new movements. You can repeat this process for as many cameras as you need. Once I finalize the camera animations, I adjust my render settings and tweak them to achieve the desired quality. And that's it. That's how I created this Mercedes car animation in Blender. I hope you learned something new from this video. If you found it helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comments, and I'll do my best to answer them.